Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament and people of Fiji. I rise to commend and thank His Excellency the President for his most gracious address. Once again, he has aptly summarized our key concerns and laid out the key components of government's legislative agenda for this parliamentary session. He has highlighted the three things that we as a nation need to focus on now in our country. COVID-19, the need to restore our economy, and the greatest challenge the world faces today, climate change. He has also reminded us that we in Fiji are fortunate that we have our 2013 Constitution that ensures we have a just and fair political system and which is steering government to ensure equal opportunities and enjoyment and protection of the rights of all the people of this country. COVID-19 is the scourge of the day. 65 million cases and 1.5 million deaths. It is impacting health, life, economy, and it is impacting everything else on this planet. Mr. Speaker, I was taken aback with the comments made by the Honorable Jone during the week on COVID-19. In particular, his rant on COVID-19. He said that COVID-19 was invented by a group of rich people around the world who are acting as God, creating chaos and paving a path to a one world government and one world order through controlling and tracing people on the forehead. He questioned the use of science to battle COVID-19. What utter nonsense, pure absurdity. Science is merely understanding the laws of nature or the laws that God the Creator has used to address the ills that befall us. That is all science is. And using this understanding to minimize negative impacts. I'm sure that the Honourable Member uses a mobile phone. Science is built into this phone. If you have a laptop, science is built into that laptop. If you're using a microphone, science is built into that microphone. Science is everywhere. It's just a way of getting things done. We need to know a thing or two about science and harness the knowledge that is in science, because the whole world relies on science. It's just understanding the laws that God created. The stark cost of ignoring science in handling COVID-19 has been stark. Science tells us to hand wash. It tells us to social distance. It tells us to use PPE. And if we ignore this, it invites spikes in death. Just look around. United States sees what is happening there because they're ignoring science. Fiji is fortunate that we have the leadership of this Prime Minister during this COVID-19 pandemic. A leader who has recognized what is needed to be done, who has listened to the experts and then made quick, precise, deliberate decisions on how to address this problem. The Honourable Biman Prasad keeps saying that this government has no vision, no plan, zero. I think he is zero. Because if you look back at the history of this Prime Minister, from the time that he started, his vision is seen in this Constitution. The rights of the people, bringing this country together, making sure that the social economic rights of people are preserved in this country. That is the vision. And over and above that, if you want to see the outcome, we have been able to contain COVID-19 in this country because of the vision of this Prime Minister and our plans. We are making an impact on the people of this country. So thank you, Prime Minister, for your leadership. Thank you, Minister for Health. Thank you for the Ministry of Health back office team and to all the frontline workers. Hats off to all of our COVID-19 frontline workers for your courage, your dedication, your loyalty, and for your sacrifice. Thank you to all of you. I applaud you, Fiji applauds you, and we are indebted to you. My ministry, the ministry, has been playing its part in addressing COVID-19. Our geospecialists have been successfully creating platforms, not zero platforms, real platforms, to provide a bird's eye view on the distribution of cases, suspected cases, contact tracing, health facilities, including isolation centers and fever clinics, through the Vonua GIS COVID-19 and dashboard platforms. After the announcement of Fiji's first positive case of COVID-19, the Department of Works rolled into action, swiftly responding and preparing infrastructure support facilities needed by the Ministry of Health. Access to clean water has been critical for hand washing in order to control COVID-19. We have focused on trying to ensure as much as possible that people have access to that water. Honourable Tambuya, the Water Authority of Fiji has not disconnected water meters of domestic accounts despite budget reductions. That has not been done. So let us not say that in this House. Our subsidized water initiatives continue despite budget restrictions, benefiting more than 150,000 households, more than 150,000 households. And this even with our aged infrastructure that we are beginning to replace. This week we had a burst mains in Nakasi, causing loss of pressure. This was followed by a 30-year-old valve giving up. We did not immediately carry out the repairs last night because to do that would have meant having a large part of Nasinu without water. But we persevere. The process of upgrading infrastructure continues whilst we manage such daily challenges. We have not forgotten our most vulnerable in terms of access to power. Subsidies for electricity to lower-income households continue, and the EFL has provided an additional subsidy for the same households from April 2020 to December of 2020. The economic shock of COVID-19 has been enormous, and economic recovery is now critical. For the Ministry, as part of this process, we have reviewed our overall directions. We've re-looked at our vision, our mission, and our values. We have re-looked our structures and commenced fine-tuning all of this. We are fine-tuning our service delivery to assist in economic recovery. Some examples of this include a waiver of interest on rental arrears for a 6-month amnesty period from the 1st November 2020 to 30 April. Encouraging undertakings or arrangements for rental arrears for our lessees. Such arrangements have enabled 10 businesses to pay a sum of approximately $200,000 over a period of time, and 3 of these entities have been able to clear their arrears this year. So there's been some flexibility in the way that we manage our lessees. These measures assist those who have been laid off due to the pandemic and for the people that lease state land, and it has brought about financial relief and security for our lessees. Identifying our key processes, mapping these processes and making improvements to them. This exercise is being undertaken both in infrastructure and meteorological services and also in lands and mineral resources. A review of operational plan targets to include the time taken to achieve each process, the monitoring of this and taking remedial action as and when needed is what we are also doing. Fiji has high-value mineral resources that contribute significantly to the national economy. We are looking to develop a more sustainable mining industry so that the sector will continue to provide employment, income, foreign exchange earnings, and revenue for government. We are doing our utmost to increase and enhance mining activities in the near future with primacy given to our environment, because we want to make sure that nothing bad happens to the environment. With 8 mining leases currently being monitored and 78 exploratory licenses being issued. With border closures, our mining companies have faced delays in receiving mining supplies from other countries. But I'd like to we applaud them for these companies for hanging in there to continue operations until we return to normalcy, especially as this sector employs approximately 2,000 workers that are still being employed by these mining companies. Many of these companies were not able to bring in international expatriates for exploration and mining activities. Many of them have been forced to use their local workers to conduct drilling and exploration programs, who then liaise with their offshore experts. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was this government, not all governments that came before, it was this government that ensured that landowners receive 80% of royalty from mining. This is the government that did it. This is the Prime Minister that did that. We have now paid out a total of $5.34 million to 3 Itoke land-owning units and 2 freehold land-owning units since 2018. The LOUs of land-owning units will continue to benefit from these payouts as mineral royalty fair share. MRD environment officers conduct routine environment monitoring site visits to the exploration and mining sites to ensure that mining and exploration companies adhere to our requirements for protecting the environment. We are ramping up the promotion and support of local investment in different ways by issuing as appropriate special leases and license, such as tourism lease, jetty license, acquiring land for public purposes, all of this to boost economic returns for all Fijians. We are making sure that good state agricultural land is provided to those who will use it productively. We are retaining as much arable land as possible for agricultural leases and thereby ensuring food security. We are also finalizing the review of our land allocation criteria so that we address the twin needs of food security and enhancing MSME development. For example, if a particular agricultural land is located along a road, a portion of the land may be converted to commercial use We will make the necessary changes to the land zoning to continue to strike the right balance in conserving agricultural land and at the same time encouraging economic activity. Mr. Speaker, sir, Lands and Mineral Resources has been the subject of many complaints about its services and speed of delivery. We are taking this challenge head-on. I have charged the Permanent Secretary and her team to improve customer service relationship, responsiveness, and to ensure the people of this country are well served. This has required adjustments in the way we define operational targets and to improve our key processes, some of which run across different ministries, requiring the development of MOUs and MOAs amongst the various ministries that are involved in these ministerial processes. Through these process improvements, we will boost service to the people of Fiji, and we will boost and encourage primary industries to grow and flourish during these difficult times. Lands and Mineral Resources has embarked on digitizing its land administration records and is looking to introduce online applications to boost efficiency and effectiveness. This will improve the speed of our land transactions and enable us to serve our customers more effectively and efficiently. And to assist our economic recovery and working through agencies such as the FRA, we are looking to optimize the resources available for safe transportation. FRA has had to be as nimble as possible in keeping our major transportation networks working, whilst at the same time continuing unfinished projects that were already in the pipeline. Our road network, our shipping lines, and our jetties are the artery through which the economy beats, linking producers to markets, workers to jobs, students to school, and the sick to hospitals. Roads are vital to our development and to our economic recovery agenda. And just addressing some of the issues that were brought up by the Honorable Salote Renrondo in relation to jetties. Number one, jetty, there's a waiting shed in place now, but FRA has a plan to completely put a new jetty there, to completely overhaul the existing jetty, because that one is using the end of its useful life. Number one, jetty, the new one, is planned to begin construction in the year 2024, and the development of a new waiting area will be included as part of that. For the Natovi jetty, listen, you might learn something. Lights have already been installed at the shed and are being checked. The design of the replacement jetty is out on tender, and construction is expected in 2024. This will include a made-for-purpose waiting shed. This year, we have completed 5 new bridges. Tamabowai, Korobulawan in Madwata, Korobuli in Madwata, Vesindrua in Madwata, Nakasava in the Konrobe. 5 new low-level crossings, Tanganiwanga in Madwata, Nairambali in the Konrobe, Rambaramba in the Bosa, Bukuya Road up there, Solobi 1 and Solobi 2 in Nandi. And we are soon to complete another 9 bridges by the year's end in the following locations: Nairambali in the Konrobe, Wunikaukawa in Madwata, Matawali in Nabosa, Bulu in Nandronga, and Nasesia, the one that we are developing down there in Nasesia. Waindamu in Budirewa, Velobelo in Lawakin Ba, Nasiani in Ra, Yangara in the Kings Road in Yangara, and 2 other new low-level crossings, Waimbula in Taviuni and Nabiabia in the Konrabi. So there's a lot of work going to make sure that the infrastructure is in place. Work on rural roads, including the Namata village access, Nakorosule and Awaisomo village access road, and the 2 low-level crossings providing accessibility to daily bus services from Lambasa to Ngarnibai and the Waro village. To ensure safe and comfortable road traveling, the Fiji Roads Authority has rolled out a pothole reduction program in the 3 divisions on deteriorated road sections, and at the same time is continuing its road rehabilitation program in different areas. The Honorable Pio Tikundondo was making fun about pothole reduction. We need to be able to do 2 things at the same time. We need to make sure that the existing infrastructure is usable, and at the same time we have to rehabilitate the ones that are really bad. You can't rehabilitate everything at the same time. Prudent management means you make sure the ones that can be repaired, the potholes are repaired, and at the same time you will rehabilitate on an ongoing, planned way. Upgrade work is being undertaken now in urban areas such as Amy Street, Milverton Road, and Princess Road. The COVID-19 crisis has highlighted the importance of developing more resilient, sustainable, and self-sufficient energy systems that are capable of withstanding future shocks. We have installed over 13,000 solar home systems, implemented new solar diesel hybrids at Nakoro and Yasawa High School, and established hydro plants in Moana, re-established the hydro plants in Moana and Kandama. We are working with and through EFL to provide access to the Tokoimalo Stage 2 project from Buralewu to Wunokula to electrify 745 houses. This is expected to be completed by 2021. Currently, Wunokula, Nauria, and Nailuba have already been connected. Buralewu and the surrounding settlements will be connected before Christmas. The remaining communities from Namara to Nasukomai will be connected before June 2021. Our power infrastructure is being built to international standards, and all precautionary measures are taken to ensure safety without endangering the lives of our people. We are focused on building back better, means constructing more resilient water, sanitation, and hygiene systems that will deliver service despite the challenges. Water Authority of Fiji is now constructing the new Rewa River water supply scheme that will supply 40 megaliters or 40 million liters of water per day, benefiting the 300,000 people living within the Greater Suva and Nosori areas. That will cost us more than $250 million. This project is targeted to be commissioned in 2022. This year saw the commissioning of major water projects, including the Namau Water Project, the recommissioning of the Divisional Medical Officer Reservoir in Lotoka, the Tabuki Village Water Project, and the Waikumbukumbu Village Water Project. Honorable Asir Rondondo raised a concern this week about the water sources in South Taveuni. Currently in the south of Taveuni, we have the desalination plant, we have a borehole, and the Water Authority of Fiji has already identified a water source at Wainivasa. We are continuing the investigation of that source, in particular, the flow of the water during the dry season. And our intention is to provide metered water to the whole of South Taveuni from this source. We are determined to achieve the targets for access to safe and clean water and wastewater set out in our National Development Plan. Safe and clean water for all by the year 2036. We are now sitting at 80%, and we will make sure that we achieve that target by that year. An increase in access to wastewater services in both urban and rural areas. Significant progress, Mr. Speaker, sir, has been done in trying to achieve these targets. We will eventually get to grips with COVID-19, but the enduring threat of our time and for our future generations will be climate change. The rising sea level has affected boreholes located near the sea, which results in the salination of salt getting into the drinking water. We are making sure that all groundwater will be sampled and treated to care for our affected communities. We continue to fund groundwater development projects in the large maritime islands and have over the years drilled 945 boreholes, 945 boreholes at various selected locations around Fiji for urban, rural water supplies, for commercial, and also for irrigation schemes. In the last financial year, from 2019 to 2020, the Ministry investigated 26 borehole sites with an additional 24 reconnaissance surveys undertaken. The Fiji Meteorological Service continues to enhance its advisory service to Fijians. Examples of this include the use of Fiji Flash Flood Guidance System to further improve the quality and lead time for early warning of flash floods, the Coastal Inundation Forecasting Demonstration Project, which improves the forecasting and warning systems for coastal inundations to protect our coastal communities, as well as support sustainable development. And in order to advise the public on the real effect of adverse weather, the Fiji Met has been developing impact-based forecasting to enable members of the public to prepare themselves accordingly. And I'm sure most of us know that we now have a tropical depression that is forming close to Samoa, moving across to Vanuatu, that is forecast to become a category cycle by Sunday, but we hope that it will not cross Fiji, but we'll get to that point as we get closer to the weekend. And in order to communicate weather forecasts and warnings better, we have implemented graphics, simple messaging using social media, video recording, disseminated to other social media platforms, media releases during severe weather events, and radio interviews using our vernacular language. So in a nutshell, Mr. Speaker, sir, this government is making sure that we do the kinds of things that His Excellency has addressed. The three key components it is addressed. We have a legislative agenda that will push through. The Honorable Attorney General has already laid out most of the legislations that will be coming through Parliament. But that is not the end of the legislation. There, of course, will be other legislation. For Fiji, a vital long-term objective is building resilience to natural shocks. The country is no stranger to natural disasters, and as we embark on this great collective journey, we pledge that no one will be left behind. And the people of this country can rest assured that when you have strong leadership, leadership that is committed to the country, leadership that does not dilly-dally Leadership that does not change from one day to the next, as we can see here. Leadership that does not do this, that is firm in what it wants to do, that they know that their future lies with the Fiji First Party into the future. Once again, Your Excellency, we thank His Excellency for his most gracious address. And in closing, Mr. Speaker, sir, we wish you the very best for the festive season, and to all honorable members of Parliament. May you have a Merry Christmas and a very prosperous New Year.